Don't be stuck with just knowing and seeing. Go ahead beyond anything, beyond seeing and knowing. Go further than that. Beyond seeing and knowing, furthermore, go on without limits, endlessly and boundlessly, uncountably, constantly. Step back in the way of disengaging from itself. Don't be stuck with just knowing, seeing. Go beyond that. Go on without limits, constantly, endlessly, uncountably, constantly, in the way that the non-attachment doesn't grasp for itself. Proceed in the way that the discarding is on its own, no grasping is on its own. Continue with the boundlessness. Continue with the purification. Proceed simultaneously with everything so that the opening is complete. Disengage, even from disengaging itself simultaneously with everything, the opening will be absolute. The attempt to dwell within oneself a lot is an obstruction. Proceed simultaneously with everything, disengage from itself simultaneously with everything. There will be the mighty force of helping through cutting, and the mighty force of the extinction will be proceeded simultaneously as well. Proceed in the way that non-grasping is on its own side, simultaneously with everything. This is not about maintaining. Any states of mind are not to be maintained. The mind is not about maintaining or thinking anything. Proceed in the way that the non-grasping is on its own, simultaneously with everything. In this way, it will release out in the way without limits. It's not about maintaining, thinking, fixated within the mind, within any state of Dharma. It's not about fixated to Dhamma and dwell in it. That's not the way. The non-attachment discards itself. It doesn't grasp itself. Let's proceed simultaneously with the essence of the non-grasping on its own. Dissolve all the fixation, the attempt to dwell, all realms of existence. All the attempt to dwell within any state of mind creates realm of existence. In other words, it's samsara. Let's dissolve samsara. Let's dissolve realm of existence. Proceed simultaneously with everything. Disengage, even from disengaging itself, it doesn't grasp itself. No grasping is on its own. Let's purify without limits constantly. Purify without traces constantly. In this, other words, is continue with purification through the emptiness. It's not about attempting to dwell or to fixate. It's not about the attempt to dwell within the mind or any states of mind. It's not about the dwelling. disengaged from itself is the purification of the extinction and the emptiness, child. Let's proceed simultaneously so that there is an opening. It's not about grasping for the body-mind form of formlessness. No grasping is on its own. Any states of mind are not to be grasped. Any conditions are not to be grasped. No grasping is on its own. Proceed simultaneously without limits, with this essence, in the way that is endless and uncountable, so that the mighty force will be the mighty force of the purification of the extinction and the emptiness, purifying realms of existence. The attempt to dwell and to fixate creates realms of existence. No grasping for the non-grasping itself thoroughly. The non-attachment doesn't grasp for itself thoroughly. Let's be thorough with this essence. Step back, disengage from itself, child. This will not be straying, drifting, and being vague. Keep the eyes opening as usual, widen out as usual. Step back, disengage from itself. Use the reminder that cut through themselves constantly. It's not in the way of straying, drifting, being vague. Step back, disengage from itself thoroughly. In the way that is boundless, in the way that is endless and uncountable. In the way that is not about grasping for the states of mind or states of Dharma attainment. Step back, disengage even from itself, child. In the way that is not about grasping for the disengaging. In the way that is not about grasping. Proceed in the way that the non-grasping is on its own, open up completely. In the way that is endless and uncountably. In the way that is boundless. No grasping is on its own, boundlessly, thoroughly. Disengage even from the disengaging itself. Keep on widening out as usual. Don't be straying and drifting. This is not about searches or straying for anything. Purify through the extinction well. Disengaging is on its own, simultaneously with everything. Purify everything through the extinction. This is not about searches for anything, straying for anything. Don't be swinging, straying, and drifting. It's not about maintaining or sustaining. Disengage even from itself. Disengaging, giving up itself. It doesn't grasp for itself. Non-attachment is on its own. It gives up itself. It doesn't grasp for itself. This is not about straying, drifting, or straying or searching for anything. This is not about maintaining or sustaining. No grasping is on its own, child. Non-attachment is on its own. This will turn into the mighty force of the purification of the extinction and emptiness automatically. Non-attachment gives up itself. This is not about maintaining or sustaining, staying still or indifferent. Giving up, even the giving up itself, child, is not about maintaining or sustaining, or staying still or indifference, or being there in any state of mind. It's not about anything, staying with anything. If something, staying with something that is not purifying through the emptiness already, that is the burdening with the attempt to dwell. The attempt to be limited to just any states of minds, that which is boundless. Go ahead. Discarding is on its own, giving up is on its own. Let's not be limited, child, because being limited, one will be stuck with that. That which is boundless, continue onwards. That which is endless and uncountable, that which is boundless. The letting go is on its own. Non-attachment is on its own. That which is boundless, child. Disengaging from itself, it gives up itself. It's not stuck with itself. It doesn't grasp for itself. This is not stuck with just disengaging or non-attachment. It's not about anything within the non-attachment, child. It doesn't grasp for itself. Be thorough with it. The boundlessness is the so-called the great compassion. Mahakaruna is to be formed up to purify samsara through the emptiness. Disengaging is on its own in the way that is brightening out. That is mind that gives up mind itself. It doesn't grasp for itself. Mind in the way without limits, not just stuck with non-attachment or disengaging, less decoding well. Open up absolutely. Open up in the way of giving up on its own, no grasping on its own. Open up absolutely. Then it will be automatically purifying without limits. disengaging on its own, child. All the drifting and straying will be ended. There is no need to search for anything any longer, purified through the extinction. There is no need to search within the mind or with anything whatsoever. Disengage on its own will purify through the extinction automatically. There is no exception, even the non-attachment purifies itself. The non-attachment doesn't grasp for itself, child. It gives up itself. Even from itself, it gives up itself. The non-attachment doesn't grasp for itself. This is not about maintaining or sustaining the mind. It is not about staying there or maintaining there. This is not the system of the realms of existence. This is not the system of maintaining mindfulness, concentration, or wisdom, or contemplation, purified through the emptiness. This is not the system of maintaining or sustaining any type of Dharma attainment. It purifies all the maintaining and fixation through the emptiness. Giving up the giving up itself with everything. The giving up is on its own. There is no burden within observing, in seeing and knowing, in consideration with the obligation to sustain any state of mind or any state of Dhamma attainment. There is no burdens to attempt to maintain or sustain any state of Dhamma attainment in whatever ways. There is no clinging or burdens to preserve any realms of existence. There are no steps, child. Give up the giving up itself. The giving up is on its own. The non-attachment is on its own. There is no steps. There is nothing that is before or after anything. There is nothing that is setting up or not with anything. Disengaged from itself, purified through the extinction and emptiness on its own essence. Disengaged on its own will purify through the extinction and emptiness by its essence. Let's not be delayed or falling behind. To maintain and sustain its realm of existence is a delay, is falling behind. This is not about sinking in, maintaining or sustaining any states of mind, any conditions, body, mind or Dhamma. It's not about anything and anything. Be thorough with this essence. That which is endless and uncountable, that which is boundless. It's impossible to be deluded to a certain extent, that which is boundless. It's impossible to be stuck with just setting up or not, being obliged or not. It's impossible to be stuck with just disengaging or not. That's the boundlessness. The non-attachment is on its own. It doesn't grasp for itself, child. By the essence of Mahasunyata Nibbana, purifying samsara onwards. Continue with the great compassion. Otherwise, you're gonna be attacked. First of all, you're gonna be attacked by your own mind. Next, you're gonna be attacked by samsara. Don't trust the extinction. Give up the extinction. Don't grasp for the extinction. Don't trust even the mind because it's gonna grasp for itself. Let's not be stuck with just giving importance to mind. That's not mind. Mind doesn't grasp for mind itself. So don't trust mind. Don't trust the emptiness either. The emptiness doesn't grasp for itself. The emptiness doesn't signify itself either. The emptiness is not the emptiness either. If you trust the emptiness, it's gonna be grasping for the emptiness. That is not being empty. Everything is non-attachment on its own. With everything, the non-attachment is on its own. The giving up is on its own. Open up absolutely all the gates of perception, sound, smell, taste, touches in the way of giving up on its own, in the way of non-grasping is on its own, without clinging, blossom out and discard itself. Nothing left in blossoming state. Whoever that take photos with the blossoming lotus is so backward. They are stuck with just blossoming and budding, opening and closing. That is blossom out of its own state. It doesn't take in anything from its conditions. Let's not be stuck with just blossoming or budding. Disengaging even on its own, that which is boundless. This is not just limited to the non-attachment. Keep on widening out completely. Otherwise, you're gonna drop within just mindfulness concentration, which is realms of existence in itself. Equanimity, which is realm of existence in itself. No grasping is on its own, absolutely. Let it end all clinging, all regrets. No grasping is on its own, with everything. That's the so-called great compassion in purifying through the extinction and the emptiness. To be stuck with just grasping or not grasping, attachment or detachment, that's still limited. Don't be stuck with just Nibbana or not. When are you going to purify through Nibbana and help samsara through Nibbana? Let's not be stuck with just Nibbana or not, being empty or not. Let's not be stuck with just not attached or attached. Let's not be limited, child. That which is boundless, that which is endless and uncountable. Therefore, open up absolutely beyond gates of perceptions and the objects of perceptions open up completely and absolutely. Continue onwards, open up in the way that the non-grasping is on its own, non-attachment is on its own, opening beyond opening, absolutely. The opening that is not stuck with just opening, child, that is purified without limits. In this way, it will help through unwinding and releasing constantly for samsara. There will not be any system of adding more suffering to each other. No such thing as adding more worsened situation, worsened deluded attachment to one another. Help through unwinding and releasing constantly for one another. Help through emptiness, purifying through the emptiness for one another constantly. That's called the great compassion. Step back, disengage without grasping for itself, absolutely. Whenever there is a lot of habits in straying, swinging, within seeing and knowing, trying to be still, trying to maintain and be still in seeing and knowing. Step back, disengaging from itself, thoroughly, without grasping for the non-attachment itself. Disengage even from the disengaging itself without grasping for itself. This is not just mind, not just disengaging. Disengaging is on its own, it doesn't grasp for itself, it gives up itself. This is not just staying with attachment or detachment arising or ceasing. Continue to purify without limits for samsara, to the extinction and the emptiness. This is not being specific. This is not just about oneself, not being specific. The great compassion is the boundlessness, child. By purifying through the emptiness, this is not only about the mind's Dhamma, form and formlessness, mindfulness, concentration, contemplation, wisdoms, special insights or liberation. It's not being specific with just attachment or detachment or liberation. The essence of liberation is the boundlessness, helping through purifying of the emptiness. It's not just liberation. This is the boundlessness that is purifying through the emptiness, actually. Disengage from itself simultaneously with everything, child. This is not just disengaging from itself alone. It's to be proceeded with everything simultaneously. It's not just about non-attachment on its own, but it's to be proceeded simultaneously with everything, purifying through the extinction and the emptiness for samsara. The essence of the great compassion. You don't need to go anywhere to any Buddha lands. The whole samsara it is. Therefore, share the great compassion to purify samsara through the emptiness thoroughly. This is not just about mind, even from mind itself. The essence must be proceeded simultaneously with everything at the same time. It's not just about knowing or not knowing, seeing or not seeing. It's not just to be stuck with just being awakened, being wise or enlightened. That which is boundless. It's not just about being awakened, being enlightened. This is the boundlessness. This is not just about that idea of being enlightened, being awakened, being wise. that which is boundless. It's not just the essence of the enlightenment. This is the enlightenment to be used for helping samsara. It's not just about cutting. It's helping through cutting deluded knowing for samsara. Mind, even from mind itself, is not only that. It's meant for everything, child. It's meant for everything. The non-attachment on its own is meant for everything. It is the great compassion. This is not limited to only the essence. The boundlessness is to be shared. It's not limited. Whenever it's being deluded to be limited, it's stuck right there. It's limited to that which is boundless.